We're just 3 weeks away from the Big 12 championship game. Every game counts that much more as we make our way to December 2nd. That being said, this is the biggest weekend of the year in the Big 12. The top 6 teams will all be duking it out with each other. Some Big 12 championship hopes will stay alive, some will be dashed, and some will remain in the hunt for a college football playoff spot. I'm Aaron Pryor, and this is Big 12 Big Football. Oklahoma and TCU have played some incredible games since the Frogs joined the Big 12. In fact, since TCU has joined the league, all 5 contests between the two have been decided by a touchdown or less. As we know, this game pits one of the nation's best offenses against one of the nation's best defenses. Let's look at the numbers. Oklahoma puts up 608 yards per game, which leads the country. TCU puts up nearly 435 yards per game. Defensively, TCU ranks 6th in the country, allowing just over 284 yards per game, where Oklahoma allows 413 yards per game, which is still less than TCU's average on offense. Finally, rushing, Oklahoma averages 213 yards per game, while TCU comes in at 193. Back in July, we talked to the coaches about the importance of the Big 12 championship game. Both Gary Patterson and Lincoln Riley know to achieve their ultimate goal, the Big 12 championship game is their way to get there.
Well, I just want you try to push so you want to become one of those two. That's the goal. And everybody says, well, it's hard now. You're going to have to possibly play somebody twice. Yeah, well, you just want that opportunity. But, I mean, that's the goal, is to get there, because you have to get there before you can play in the playoffs. And so for us, you want to win the championship. You want to win the championship in the championship game, and then you also want to be able to get to the playoffs. So you want to be one of those 2 teams now. It gives you something more to play off, because you don't always have to be number 1 now. You can be the second guy and still get done what you need to get done.
Well, it's exciting. It's a great kind of cap to the Big 12 season. You know, it's important as far as being beneficial for our teams at the end of the year. You know, it's going to be so unique for us because we all play each other, but at the same time, at the end of the year, you're not going to have, you know, 2 divisions where maybe you don't get the absolute best 2 teams, and with this you will. And I think that's what makes it unique, as far as even when you compare it back to when we had North and South divisions. That seems like a long time ago, wasn't that long ago, but you know, you had years where maybe 2 of the strongest teams were in the same division and you didn't end up in the championship game. So I think it's a great system, and I think it's going to be just a perfect way to cap the year. Also, one more note, the Sooners are officially a member of the Jordan Brand family.
You guys are about to be part of a bigger team, a team that I've been a part of for a while now. I just want to come announce that so you guys know.
Starting in the 2018 athletic year, Oklahoma will sport the Jumpman logo in football, men's and women's basketball, becoming just the 3rd collegiate program under the Jordan Brand. Let's back it up to the morning slate, where number 11 Oklahoma State heads to Ames to take on number 15 Iowa State. The Cyclones are 4-2 in league play for the first time since 2002 and are bowl eligible for the first time since 2012. Their stout defense will need to step it up once again as Mason Rudolph enters the game, leading the NCAA with 368 passing yards per game. A look at the numbers here shows the Cyclones only give up 367 yards per game, while the Cowboys put up nearly 580 per game, which is 2nd in the country, only to Oklahoma. The Cyclones have only allowed 24 points in the second half of its 6 conference games, so look to see if Oklahoma State comes out pistols firing, how Iowa State will adjust in the second half. With only 2 conference losses, both teams are still very much in the hunt for a spot in the Big 12 championship game. Finally, ESPN2 at 2:30 features the West Virginia Mountaineers coming off a win over number 15 Iowa State, traveling to Little Manhattan to take on Kansas State. WVU's Will Grier is quietly having one heck of a year in Morgantown. He ranks 4th in the country with 341 yards per game and was named a semifinalist for the Davey O'Brien Trophy, given to the best quarterback in the NCAA. A win on Saturday for K-State means the Wildcats are bowl eligible for the 8th straight season, and their Big 12 championship game hopes are still alive. We'll see you next week for another edition of Big 12 Big Football. For the Big 12 Conference, I'm Aaron Pryor.